Do you want to know how to teach a child to say their name? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach parenting, child development, good communication, and how to build strong family bonds all over the world through the lens of the principle self-government. In this video, we're going to be talking about teaching your child how to say their name. In this video, I'm going to be sharing a real story from my life and then share with you some key principles that you want to remember as you are trying to teach your child how to say their name. I raised 4 children of my own as well as many foster children over the years, but right now I'm an empty nester and a grandma. And I recently have had the experience of teaching my granddaughter Clara how to say her name. Now, Kl is a very difficult sound for the tongue to learn how to make. So at first, we all called her Clara. Well, actually, I should probably correct that a little bit. At first, her dad and her mom called her baby. And they were like, oh, baby. And they called her baby all the time, baby, baby. And then she started referring to herself as baby. And she was like, baby, this, baby. And she did not want to use her own name. So we decided, we can't use baby anymore, because whatever you call the child, that is what they are going to think they need to refer to themselves as. So my daughter and son-in-law switched and started using the name Clara all of the time. But CL is very difficult to say. And so at first she didn't say anything. And it seemed like maybe she didn't know her name. I think she did, but she wasn't visualizing how to put it together. Now, depending on what the first letter of the name is, what you do to start teaching the name could be different. So for Clara, we needed to teach the letter C. Her mother had hung some letter C's around her room, but every time we saw something that started with the letter C, like a cow or a cup, then we would emphasize the k, k. And so we would actually try to get her to mimic that sound. So you just go to the baby and you say k. Clara, say k, k, cup. Do you want your cup? And then she would say, and that's, yes for baby, right? And so we would give her her cup, but she would practice saying k, k. And she got to the point where she could say that beginning sound. Now saying kl, oh boy, that's even more difficult. So for a very long time, quite a few months, she actually called herself Kaka instead of Clara. And yeah, some people kind of laughed at that a little bit. But she thought her name was Kaka as far as what she could say. But we kept calling her Clara. Now, there were a few people that for a while thought it was so cute that she called herself Kaka that they started saying, oh, Kaka, do you want this? Kaka, do you want to do that? And finally I said, ooh, don't do that. Because she's going to actually think that her name is Kaka, but her name is Clara. So even though she is saying Kaka, we have to all keep saying Clara so that she knows that that's how to say her name. Now there was this beautiful moment where Grandpa had some time with Clara alone. Everyone else was out doing something. And we came home and Grandpa said, I taught her her name. She can say it. Come on, Clara, tell him how you can say Clara. And she looked at everybody and she went, Kaka. And he said, no, she can say it. She can. And so she didn't want to say it in front of everybody. She got a little bit of anxiety, not knowing exactly what was expected, that she was supposed to recall this little learning session that she had had with her grandfather. So then everybody else walked away and they started doing all of the things that they were doing. And he went up to her and said, Clara, say Clara. And she then was able to say it, Clara. And all of a sudden she could do it. And everybody got so excited. We started cheering, Clara. We started singing Clara to her and saying it. So after that, did she still call herself Ka a lot of times? Yes, but it got more and more to Clara, Clara. It just took her so much more effort. She had to think about it so much harder to come up with that contraction of the CL, and the R was also difficult for her to say. The A's she had no problem, but the other letters were difficult. So it took a little bit of time. We actually took each letter individually and taught her what they say. So I homeschooled all of my children. If you've subscribed to this channel, you've probably seen that there are some videos on here on homeschooling and education. Well, the most of the videos are about parenting, good communication, solving behavior problems, developing good parent-child bonds, those types of things. But there are a few videos about homeschooling as well. Well, if there's one thing I learned about homeschooling, it's that you can teach children letter recognition and sound recognition much sooner than people think you can. So I started very young with my children. I started teaching them what the letters were. So I had little, puffy little letters that they would play in the bathtub. We would hold up the letter and say, K, K. This is a C. It says K. When you touch it, it says K. So I taught my children, if you ever touch a letter, it has to say its sound. So L says, oh. Oh, and then we would go around the house and find other things that say oh when you touch them, like ladder says oh, ladder, or maybe lifesaver says oh, lifesaver. Doll says doll when you touch it. So we made sure that we backed up the sounds for all of the words. Now, of course, just listening to parents talk is going to be the #1 way that children learn their vocabulary, but make sure that you break it down for them a little bit too, because that actually makes it easier on the child really learning their name, but also a lot of other words too. Children do say the darndest things, and sometimes children, when they're trying to get their words right, will say things that maybe even might be a little bit inappropriate or get a crowd laughing. But don't leave them in that phase of their verbal development. Keep them going on learning the individual sounds. You can even have some time each day where you just practice some of the sounds. Start with the ones that are their name, because that's their favorite word. When they hear their name, they know it means them. Now I've got to tell you something about Clara. She's 2 years old now. She can say her name just fine. She can also say dinosaur. She can say appropriately. She can say octagon. She can say a lot of big words, and she's starting to use sentences. When she uses her sentences now, she refers to herself in third person. Clara wants snacks. Clara wants milk. Clara have milk? She doesn't have the understanding of now me, I, you. So now we're working on helping her understand that context. But just understanding her name allows her to experience far less frustration, because she can now tell what she wants, what she thinks, and about her experiences, because she can say the name Clara. Teaching your children their name is important, but don't be stressed about it. Have patience. Each child's tongue develops differently with their verbal and linguistic skills. Give them time. Some children learn words very early, like Clara did, and some take a lot longer. It's okay. There is not a certain formula for when a child has to learn language. But I will say it is better for your child to talk to you and hear your language than it is to be hearing digital devices, screens, music, those types of things. It's always a little bit more garbly, it's faster, they're not seeing the mouth movement as clearly. So make sure that you talk to your child. When my children were little babies, I talked to them all the time. Well, I talked to them later too, of course, but I would describe everything that they were doing. This was the perfect start to them learning all of their words, including their name. Now, this child that you're teaching their name to, they're growing and learning quickly. So you may need some other skills too, Little Clara at age 2 can accept no answers, follow instructions, disagree appropriately, accept consequences, and even self-regulate by calming herself down when she is told to. She's 2. Your child can learn all of these things too. On this channel, you'll be able to see a few little videos where Clara is featured using some of her skills, her disagree appropriately skill, which she's much better at now than when we did the video. But all of these things that are taught on this channel can be learned by your child. So start learning the skills of self-government and teaching those to your child too. And you will have a lot of great communication for all of the years to come. If you want to learn some of the nuts and bolts of teaching self-government, there's a full-length class that talks about some of the skills I've just mentioned. It's called The Not-So-Known Secret for Parenting Success. So click on the link to that video now. I'll see you there.